Hey, it's Donnie here at the Mara Group. Everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. And I want to talk a little bit today. I get this question a lot. Should you buy a house right now? The market is super hot. We all know that. Multiple offers. Prices have been going up. Should you buy a house right now? Is it a smart idea? Well, let's talk about a couple reasons why it just might be. Number one, prices are still going up. So if you don't buy now and then you buy next year and prices have gone up 10%, was it smart to miss out on 10% of equity? Plus you missed out on that whole year of principal payments. You're a year closer to getting your home paid for. An argument could be made that you're better off to go ahead and buy now, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second, because there's other ways that it costs you money to wait also. It costs you a lot of money to wait. So number one, prices are still going up. I have had clients who didn't want to buy and they waited a year and said, man, we got to buy a house. Now we got to do it. But unfortunately, prices are $25,000 higher than they were last year. Yes, they lost $25,000 in instant equity. Had they just bought the year before, they would have been better off. So prices are going up, so definitely buy that house if you're in a position to do that, and it's a smart move for you. Number two, interest rates. The total that you pay for your house is generally about double what you actually bought the home for if you pay it out over 30 years, because there's interest on that home. It only takes a little bit of interest rate to bump your payment up by a lot. When the payment goes up because interest rates go up, $0 of that additional payment is going to your loan payoff. Every penny of it is going up. So for instance, let's just use very, very simple math. $100,000 loan, you have a 3% interest rate. The payment, we're just going to do interest only, is $250 a month. That's $3,000, 3% of 100 for your first year, right? Simple, super simple math there. No amortization. If the interest rate goes to 4%, you just paid $4,000 for that year instead of $3,000. The payment went from $250 a month to $336 or something like that a month. An extra $86 a month. Zero of that extra $86 went to your equity, went to paying off your home. It all went to interest. So buying now while interest rates are low, even if prices are a little higher, can lower your total amount of interest paid, the total amount you pay for the home, and it can also increase how much it amortizes every month, making more of your payment go towards principal, or a higher percentage of your payment going towards principal. Third, and we talked about prices going up earlier, what it cost you for prices to go up, what it cost you for interest rates to not buy. Don't even get me started on rent. So do the math. If you're renting, I have been told by so many buyers, man, I can't even rent a 2-bedroom apartment for under $1,500 a month in the part of town I want to be in. That's $18,000 a year. Remember earlier we talked about somebody waited 12 months and the price of the home went up $25,000? Yep, it did. Let's add $18,000, the amount that they paid in rent on top of that. So it cost them $43,000 just in the price of the home and rent for that year, not counting all the other side benefits, but they took a $43,000 loss that's on a home that went up $25,000. So if that was a $250,000 house, they just lost 20% of the value of their home by waiting for your 20%, because they were waiting for prices to go down and they were paying rent while they're doing it. That is one of the reasons why the average renter has, or the average homeowner, I should say, has 42 times the net worth of the average renter, because it does not pay to rent. You're only losing money. So if you're renting, regardless of the price of the home, you're almost always better off to go ahead and buy the house, because you're just losing so much money on rent. And last, family needs. There is some value in your family's needs. That year that you spent in that apartment where you spent $18,000 on rent and you missed out on $25,000 worth of equity in the house, you lost $43,000. Here's the worst part of that. Your kids may not have been in the school district you wanted them to be in. Not only did you lose $43,000, but your kids weren't in the school district you wanted to be in. The kids may not have been in the neighborhood that you wanted them to be in. The kids may not have had the yard you wanted them to have to play in. They may not have had room for a swing set. I remember my swing set that I had for my kids. They had outgrown it. I sold a house to a great family here. They were coming from an apartment, had 3 or 4 children, And I gave them the swing set. My kids had gotten too big for it. I was like, dude, come get it out of my yard. Your kids can have it. They finally have a yard. I want y'all to have this swing set. And it needed some repairs, but it wasn't, they got a great deal for a free swing set. But regardless, they couldn't have done that in their apartment. Do your kids want a pool? Well, you can't do that in an apartment. Yeah, there's an apartment pool, but it's just not the same if that's what you want to be able to walk out your back door and do that. Sometimes it's hard for the kids to ride their bicycle up the street in an apartment complex versus being in a neighborhood. So not only is the money important, but just your family needs. So what breaks my heart is to see somebody spend $18,000 in rent and lost $25,000 in equity. And in addition to that, they might get a higher interest rate. And in addition to that, they didn't have their family where they wanted them to be. They weren't meeting the goal for their family. Their kids didn't have the yard to play in that they wanted to have. They didn't have the neighborhood friends that they wanted them to play with. So not only did they lose $40,000, $50,000, they also shortchanged their family in that year. Sometimes it's necessary. Don't get me wrong. You got to do what you got to do. However, there's definitely still value in buying homes in today's market. Don't just look at the price and get sticker shock and say, oh my goodness. You got to look at what you lose by not buying as well. The opportunity cost of not buying is very, very high. So for that reason, I still think it's worth it to purchase a home for most people. There are certain situations that it's not, but for most people, it's still a great time to buy a home. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to us here at the Bar Group. We're always happy to help you. Have a great day.